There's always no like a sparkle here, or like over here.
Looking like you just went to the strip club,
and you don't see it for like 4 days, and then the light just hits it right. And you're like,
God. And you can't, and then you think you get it
off. Yeah. It's glitter is the worst. Glitter is the worst.
It is, but it's so pretty.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey,
what's going on?
I just realized your shirt.
What's wrong with my shirt?
You don't want to be part of the brand anymore? Yeah, or anybody's brand?
They're dirty.
You know what's funny is I
decided to wear a clean shirt.
I mean, that works. I went to I was going to say drop off. I went to pick up JR the other day, and same reason. The clothes are clean. They're just not folded and put away.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, mine. I don't know about yours. We do our own now. But so I was into like the low shirts that I don't wear very much, and one of them was like it's like a coral orange, but it's like my old Riley Black,
right?
Like rectangle? Vinyl days, the rectangle. Right. But I have shoes that match, so I mean, I was still like matching, head to toe, like I like to do with a tank top and the t-shirt.
Are you saying I don't like to match?
No. I'm saying I do. I'm like explaining. I like to do. No, I'm explaining how I do it.
Right.
My shoes always match my shirt and whatever. So anyway, I show up and she goes, "Oh, I'm not used to seeing you not in red," because I'm usually in this because I'm like recording or yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, those clothes aren't put away." That's why I had to bust out this color. So nice.
This is why it's a regular pocket tee.
All right, that's fine. So what's new?
What's new is that we got to go to Fort Myers, and this time I'm not working, but I am working because I got to put up a tarp.
Yeah.
Gotta go fortify the mother-in-law's house.
My mom's house, my mom's like vacation house, was hit, and she couldn't get a hold of the HOA. She couldn't get people to come out there. She finally got someone to come out there, and they're like, "Yep, it's bad, but we don't know when we're going to be able to tarp." And rain is in the forecast.
Right.
So here we go.
Yeah, unless we hear something today that...
I doubt it, but...
That the HOA is going to take care of it before then.
Yeah.
Going up and tarping a roof.
Yay. So we'll for you, because I'll just be wrangling the kids while you do that.
I mean, maybe yay for me. We'll see how that goes.
Right? Don't hurt yourself, please.
I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. So here's episode 82. Might be...
Wish us luck. Don't speak it into existence.
Maybe episode 83, I'll have another story, but we'll see.
Okay.
Come in here with my leg up on top of something with a cast.
Can you not? No, do not tell the cloud that, okay?
Okay, I won't. Yeah, and you're making stuff.
I know. I've put out 2 new files in the last like couple weeks.
That's huge.
That's huge for me. And I have like many more like almost ready to go. I literally just have to like cut them, photograph and list them. So we're talking about holiday stuff, getting those listings ready. You posted a bunch too about it, so I've just been posting regularly. I've been feeling a little bit better. There's been some days like, with my mom's house and figuring out that I finally booked myself a facial that I was really excited about, and I had to reschedule it. So, cause we have to go take care of my mom's house. There's still definitely some days where I'm like, fuck this.
Right.
But I feel like that day I leaned into the fact that not all days are going to be good days.
Right.
And I've made the decision not to quit. And so I just need to do the best I can, especially on those bad days, and like just keep fucking going, kind of like Melody said. So yeah, I'm just trucking along.
Keep on keeping on.
And I have missed designing, and I do like it. I still hate doing listings. Still hate it.
Right.
I don't think I'll ever not hate it.
But it's just one of those things. It comes with it.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go get our guest.
Yeah, we'll get our guest, and we'll be right back.
All right.
And we're back with our guest, Courtney from Huston Acrylic. Hey.
Hi.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good.
So tell us, I guess, how you got into this. What were you doing before you became Huston Acrylic and laser stuff?
So before Huston Acrylic, I was in the HR world, working for oil and gas companies.
Oh, wow. Me too. Did you know that?
Actually, I listened to your podcast a couple of days ago.
The early ones.
Oil and gas. You did accounting.
Yes.
I was like, well, that's funny. I was also in oil and gas and did, HR.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, during COVID, I got laid off. The company I worked for decided they didn't need human resources during COVID, which was kind of weird, but
right?
That's fine. It was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Right.
It was around that time that I had been begging my husband, Patrick, for a glow forge. I had my silhouette machine. I've had my silhouette machine for 5 years. I had an Etsy shop and it was doing good. I was like, glow forge.
Right. We'll take it up.
Yeah, a glow forge would really shake things up, and then I wouldn't have to work, and I could stay home and craft all day, and it'll be great. So he actually saw that a glow forge in Austin, which is about 2 or 3 hours away from us, was for sale. He drove up there and got it and brought it home. I was starting to use it, but then I realized local to me, there was nowhere I could get acrylic sheets unless I wanted to buy a full sheet.
Right.
I don't want
Which is typical. A full sheet is 4 feet by 8 feet.
Yeah. Exactly. You get 20 pieces out of it. So the last thing you want as a crafter is 20 pieces of, white or black. And if you're just starting, you don't even know what to do with that.
Which is so funny. That's how so many people, that's how Amanda started.
Exactly.
Amanda started
your podcast too.
When we all ordered, it was like 5 of us who went in on like 6 colors and we like split it all. And funny enough, that was how many years ago? And I still have like 4 sheets of that purple, 4 sheets of that green that we all split because they weren't like common colors that I really use all the time. And I still didn't need that many of that one color,
Yeah. And on top of that, I also wanted, I wanted to find glitters. I wanted to find, tortoiseshell.
The fun stuff, yeah.
The fun stuff. And I just wanted to be that one-stop place where people, if they just wanted a plain black and a glitter and an iridescent, they could find that all in one place. So we started it with just the solids. And then my business partner, Chelsea, who's not here right now, she has knowledge with doing procurement for other companies. So she was able to find the glitters and iridescents and work with manufacturers to custom make some colors.
Nice.
Which is how we're able to get some of our colors. We get them custom made. But then once it's made with the manufacturer, we don't own that. So they just take it. It's a color. You don't own a color.
Right. Well, and I mean, just like a file, if you wanted like exclusivity on that color, like you'd have to pay probably quite a bit of money, to have that. So, I mean, like I've had people, ask about like exclusive files, and I'm like, especially if I know that it's something that I can market elsewhere, it's like, well, I would potentially be giving up several $1,000s of revenue to give you something exclusive. So it's either you can buy it for $5 or you'd have to pay several thousand, because that's the potential income loss that I would have if I'm not allowed to then post that work on, whatever. So kind of similar.
So we're thankful that we have a couple of manufacturers that we can work with to at least get custom things made.
Yeah.
So we're thankful for that, because then, Chelsea's very creative. Compared to me, I like all glitters, but then things like our swirls and green stuff and all that, I'm like, that's not glittery, Chelsea. Why did you order that?
Right.
So we kind of, feed off each other, because if it's not glittery, then she's finding it.
Right. And you get more customer base.
Exactly, because it's different types of material, trends or designs.
Yeah.
But it's funny, because when I first started Huston Acrylic, it was actually Patrick's idea, who's kind of our silent business partner. I didn't want to do it. I was like, people aren't going to like me. What if I can't do it? What if I fail? What if this doesn't work out?
Right. Yeah.
And I think when anybody starts a business, even an Etsy shop.
Oh, yeah.
you're like, well, what if I start my Etsy shop and it doesn't work out?
Well, I mean, even with the Glowforge, before purchasing, materials that, you then could potentially be stuck with if no one wants to buy them. I mean, I had the same feeling with just this, like I was going to say a simple Glowforge, but I mean, even to people who have a lot of money lying around, it's several $1,000s. It's an investment. So it's scary no matter how much you are sure that it's going to do well or it's not. And the good and bad thing about it is that a lot of us go into it thinking we're going to do one thing and it takes us on a completely different direction, which is great in some senses, but it's also scary because it's like, if you go into it thinking, like I thought I was going to make those nursery rounds and I ended up absolutely hating them. And it would really suck if I was stuck on that and really put all my eggs in one basket of I'm going to make these nursery rounds and then they don't work out. And then it's like, now what?
Yeah,
So
you got to be, flexible where you're willing to do one thing if one thing doesn't work out.
Right. And try something else.
That you mentioned the nursery rounds. When I had Paxton a few months ago, Chelsea actually made one of those nursery rounds. And it took her 12 hours just to make one round. And she's like, I now understand why people like Pearl and Pine
charge a lot of money for them. Did she do the shaping and everything?
Huh?
Did she do the shaping and everything?
Yes. Yeah, she did the shaping and everything.
Way. There's no way I could do those. There was no shaping in my 2 nursery rounds that I did.
It's very time consuming, but the finished product is like,
it's
wow.
It's definitely wow. But and that's because of the amount of work that goes into them. And, I found struggles in that, these weren't nursery rounds. I made them I did like a contest and my friend won the contest and then ended up buying one for her friend or for her other child as well. And they were older kids. But at the time, again, suppliers were very limited in like for the stuff that, was good for the Glowforge. And so the rounds, the only ones I could find were from Home Depot and they were like, 1.5 inches thick and were heavy AF. And it's like, I'm scared to give something this heavy to someone who's going to hang it in their kids' room, nursery or not. So like, definitely please don't put this over a crib. But like, even in their room of like older kids, I was like, please careful. Hang this carefully and, don't put it anywhere where it can fall on them. And it was difficult. And then I was like, man, this is a lot of work. And I didn't charge definitely enough, which went into that as well. And I just realized like there wasn't a lot of, I don't know, personally, there wasn't a lot of room for me to be creative because I wasn't doing the florals and the shaping and all that kind of stuff. And so like the creativity was only in the colors of the round, the color of the name and the middle name and what font you're using. And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of boring.
But so you starting out, that's great. And it's funny you mentioned, undercharging. I don't know how many times that me and Chelsea, we have somebody come in who wants wedding invitations and we charge them and then we end up sending it to the laser and we're like, oh man, this is we should have done more.
Every time. I still like, I've definitely gotten better at pricing, but if anytime it's something new, I know I'm going to price wrong. Like the Eon sign that I did that was like super pimped out with the LED, like, awesome. And I felt uncomfortable sending that invoice to them, and I'm like, I almost knew that like they'd probably pay whatever I charged as long as it wasn't like astronomical, but at the same time I didn't like want to take advantage of them just because they'd probably pay it. And then my thought process is if I do charge a lot, I'm only adding more pressure to myself to make it worth that much. And it's like, if I charge, whatever, say $1,000 or something, now I have the pressure of making sure that they find the worth in $1,000. So like, that sign alone had 250 250 or 215. I don't even remember. 200 plus in just materials. Those LED lights were, I think, $100 themselves. And that was even with Amanda giving me a discount because she wanted, to like see them in use. And yeah, there was, I don't even know how many different acrylics, 4, 5, 30 keychains, like... Yeah. Oh yeah, and the labor. It took forever because it was like, it was a brand new design, and like, sure, it looks great in my head, but then turning that design and that mock-up into like an actual, design, because it was like 3D too, so I had to make sure that the dimension made sense, and it was a whole thing. And I charged a lot for it, but I definitely still undercharged because it was a new custom thing, and you just don't know how much time it's going to take. You can estimate your labor, but you really don't know. Yeah.
Especially when it's something new that you've never done. You're like, well, I think it should take me 2 hours, but it ended up.
And I am the 8 absolute worst at how long something is going to take me. Like, hence why we're late every single week to recording, because I think, this will take me 30 minutes. I'll be done. 30 minutes later, and I'm not even close to being finished.
Just look at the show times. Yeah. The show times fluctuate. We don't know how long things take.
No. You guys have kids. One thing I learned in Paxton, I used to always be on time, 15 minutes early. As soon as I had Paxton, 15 minutes late.
Listen, we were never on time before kids. So now, especially with kids, we're even later. So we were the type before kids to still be, about 30 minutes late somewhere-ish?
Depends on what the
now, like, if we're only an hour late, again, it depends on what it is. But, like, if there's any kind of leeway in the timing, like a birthday party where it's, like, 2 to 5, we're going to be there at, like, 3:30. Because that, like, if it's not, like, you need to be there at 2 because it starts at 2... Like, the fact that we make it to most of our swimming classes on time.
Yesterday, perfect example. Yesterday, I had to leave Jackson with you so that JR would make it to school on time. Yeah. That's how, like,
and the school is literally right behind our house. Yeah. Like, so, it's a block away.
But we still have to go there. So, it's like I had to leave him with you drinking his milk so that I could take JR and then come back for Jackson for his daycare. Luckily, his daycare doesn't have a hard out like school does.
Right.
But kids are...
Kind of. He has to be there by 9 or he misses breakfast. Okay. But it's still like,
whatever. They still accept him.
Right. Yeah, true. They're not like, nope.
No, he's yours home. Now. He's yours today.
We'd definitely be on time if they did that, wouldn't we?
Even then, I think it'd be like, well, you're going to have to take the L today.
Right.
You're going to have
It would be 8:59. We're here.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing I've learned with having a kid is that you have to be flexible.
Yeah.
Especially with having a business. Like last weekend, I was short-staffed. I didn't have a sitter. So I packed up Paxton and I was like, well, you're coming to do the showroom with me.
Right.
I'm sitting you in the chair and you're going to be crawling all over the place and probably screaming, but you're here.
Right.
Bring your kid to work day.
Yeah.
and luckily, with the laser community, most customers are either stay-at-home moms.
Right.
Or they're people who are doing this as a side gig.
Right.
Trying to make some extra money.
Yeah, they understand the struggle of having a million things.
Yes, they understand the struggle of trying to run your small business and trying to bounce soccer games, baseball games.
Well, and even when you do have care, they'll be sick or they don't have school that day, or like we scheduled one on a Saturday and we forgot to find care and then had found somebody and then they unfortunately had something come up. And so it was like, and thankfully, his cousin came in like last minute to save the day. But even, I scheduled a podcast for November and then I realized that that's like it's not a holiday. I don't think it's a holiday, but there's like some teacher, session or teacher work day, and so he doesn't have school that day, so now I have to reschedule that one because I didn't realize he's going to be home. So it's they keep you on your toes for sure. Always having to pivot.
Right.
So when you got the laser, what were you planning to make? Like, what did you think you were going to do with it?
So I had my silhouette already. I was doing t-shirts. T-shirts, car decals. That's what I was doing. But I really wanted to do cake toppers, wedding cake toppers.
I do like me some cake toppers.
Because I was already kind of doing, shirts for bachelorette parties and wedding parties and all that. So I was like, well, that would be easy. You know, somebody's going to come buy shirts for their bachelorette party, but then they're going to need a cake topper.
Right.
So that was my main goal. And I was lucky enough when I started Huston Acrylic to just keep doing both. But then as Huston Acrylic started to grow and get busier, I've kind of, put my Etsy on hold and was like, well, I need to focus on getting the materials. I'll still do things for customers that were my old customers.
Right.
If they reach out to me. But as for finding new business, that's exhausting. Right now.
Yeah.
And it's actually cool because, I started doing.
Well, it's a good problem to have too. It means that you're so busy that you don't necessarily need or want the Etsy right now.
Exactly. And I'm very thankful for that. We started this in my garage. And then from my garage, I went to the lobby of Patrick's office at the time. And I had, one IKEA shelf of colors.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And he was like, okay, this is all you get, one wall with one shelf. We'll see what happens.
Right.
And then the one shelf turned into 3 shelves and I ran out of walls. And, it got to where, his employees were coming out of their office and helping my customers.
Yeah.
Which was cool. These are technology guys who had nothing to do with acrylic.
Right.
Didn't even know what crafting, was. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, you want blue acrylic? We got that.
Yeah.
So then, he kicked me out of his lobby and he got me my old space.
Yeah.
But we quickly outgrew that. And that's where we're at in our new showroom now.
Right.
Which is,
just looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it's a nicer building. It has more space for us to grow.
Yeah.
Which is, in our plans. We want to be able to, add more colors.
Right. Well, that's the hard part about finding like showrooms or locations or warehouses is that a lot of times because it's so hard to find sometimes. And by the time you find them, your business doesn't stop growing or doesn't stop being a business. So a lot of times with the work of finding a place, by the time you get it, sign the lease, get all the paperwork done, get moved in, you're like, oh shit, we're not going to last here for very long. I mean,
time to look for a new place.
Yeah. Melody just
don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
Yeah. Well, and Danny with Eon, they literally took forever. COVID delayed it some too. Yep. If it wasn't for COVID, he would have been in his place sooner. But, with all the delays and they couldn't get certain things in. And then, of course, the things they couldn't get in were the things that they needed to clear inspections and, so stuff like that. And as soon as they finally got into their new warehouse, they're like, we need to build a bit. They already outgrew it before they even got in it. And so it's like, again, it's annoying, but it's a good problem to have, but just an expensive problem sometimes.
Exactly. And especially with, for us, we didn't turn off our website. We didn't do anything.
Right.
We literally, at 3 p.m. on Friday, we had the moving truck showed up, packed everything up.
That's impressive.
And then the next day, we worked on, building shelves, unpacking the acrylic.
Well, and moving acrylic, man, I feel for all of you suppliers, like having worked with, Amanda, like touching one sheet from your shelf to the laser is one thing, or even getting a shipment in. I just opened the shipment I just got from you. I opened it right before. I was like, I gotta look at this acrylic before I talk to her.
Picking up a stack of 20 repeatedly.
Right. And I would help her pull the orders, and I'm like, this shit is heavy as fuck. Or like one of them falls on you, or
labeling them.
Yes.
And it's sharp.
Yes.
It's sharp. So I constantly have acrylic wounds on my arms.
Totally.
And I found it dries out your hands, so then it makes cracking and slicing
makes it easier to Yeah. It's rough stuff. It's heavy.
We feel your pain because we've been there.
Patrick always says, why couldn't you have picked vinyl?
Right.
Vinyl was so much lighter.
It is, but it isn't. Like, you get the big rolls, and those rolls of vinyl are heavy AF too.
Yes. So you may think it's light, but you got to cut that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I joke with him. I'm like, well, you just watch. Glitter's going to be the next thing. And I'm going to have a warehouse full of glitter, and you guys are going to have to package it individually.
Right.
For him, that's the worst idea possible. He's
yeah. Yeah, glitter goes everywhere. Like, even if you contain it, like, if some busted container is going to show up and you're screwed, you're going to have purple all over for the rest of your life.
There's no getting rid of that.
No, it never goes away.
There's always no like vacuum a sparkle here. Yeah. Or like over here. Looking like you just went to the strip club. And you don't see it for like 4 days, and then the light just hits it right. And you're like,
shing, shing, and you can't, and then you think you get it off.
Yeah. It's glitter is the worst. Glitter is the worst.
It is, but it's so pretty.
I mean, for you guys, it's the worst.
I love me some glitter and sparkle too.
All right, I'm gonna buy JR some glitter.
No. He can't.
You love it. You say you love it.
I love it.
But he's going to be throwing it all around the house.
Yeah, no.
You're going to have a glitter couch.
Hard pass on that. I mean, now I'm glad that I'm glad I had boys. Because I'm going to hope that they, I mean,
boy, mom.
You know, it's funny. So he told me yesterday, speaking of sparkle and boys, he told me, he's like, Mommy, I like Daddy's car better or something like that. And I was like, why? I was like, what's wrong with my car? And he's like, your car has those like spiky things.
The glitter on the
So I have a rhinestone like steering wheel cover because I'm ridiculous. And I also have like a thing on my license plate on the back. But yeah, so he didn't. Mic. Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, but specifically on my car, that's where it is. And he was like, I don't like what you have on your steering wheel. And I was like, well, I like it and it's my car. So, but yeah, that was his reasoning for not liking.
I love driving your car. It makes me feel very manly with that steering wheel cover, by the way.
I just had to test it.
This is how I stopped my husband from driving my car.
Right?
Yeah, it hurt. I don't know how you do it. With the studs anyway, that's a whole.
It doesn't bother me. Clearly, the pain doesn't hurt. The pain's worth it because it's beauty.
Okay.
There's another little tangent for you.
It's like it's like a party every time you drive too during the day because the light
shines. It's like a disco in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm always worried about people who use mirrored acrylic in their car.
Oh yeah, no, that would be deadly.
Be careful. I don't.
His phone. Yeah, he'll be like a passenger if like I'm driving every once in a while, and he'll just be on his phone, and the sun will hit his phone just right, and I'm like forcefully like flipping
or my watch.
Yeah,
my watch is the worst because the phone you could just like look at it this way, but my watch you kind of like just put your hand a certain way all the time.
It's like
so if that gets you, it's like, oh well, now I gotta like put my hand. I don't know what to do.
Just take it off. So you moved over basically a weekend though. It was
we moved over a weekend. It was exhausting.
They shifted to third gear.
Who?
You don't hear it?
No.
There's a car driving by.
Yeah, there's a car driving by.
Not at all. Okay, car guy.
So we moved over a weekend, and it was absolutely exhausting. Not only did we have our old space, but we were at capacity, so we had ended up getting 2 storage units. So on top of moving my old warehouse, we had to go empty 2 storage units.
Oh man.
Which was, luckily one of 2 of the storage units was already palletized. Yeah. So all we would do was load the pallets on the truck. Unfortunately, the last storage unit, that was before I got smart, and it was not palletized. It was just in there.
Yeah.
So that was, a bit of a workout.
Yeah, a little bit, I'd say.
And I'm thankful that, we have, not only do we have myself and Chelsea and my husband, but we also have 3 or 4 warehouse guys and my showroom manager. So I'm thankful that, they were all doing that whole hands.
Right, yeah.
They were, working, they will probably work 10 hours every day.
Wow.
But they were, I made sure to give them free lunch, free breakfast. They got some bonuses.
Yeah.
Because I always believe, you should definitely take care of, coming from the HR world.
Yeah.
You need to take care of your employees.
Well, that's how you keep people. If they're valuable employees, that's how you keep them is by finding ways to express, that you're thankful for their work, their skill, for being there, because the fact is that if someone's working for you, it's because they choose to, sure. Sometimes people do it out of necessity, but even more so now we're kind of like in this, environment where it's more acceptable for you to quit a job to go for your dream and to work at a job where you really want to work and not just because you have to have a paycheck or whatever, you know? So even more so, it's more important to, you know, do what you can to keep an employee if they're someone that you want to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially because, you know, it's more time consuming for a business to go out and find another
and training and
train them and get them up to speed with, you know, where the other one was. So I really think that you should just focus on retaining your employment.
Yep.
You know, pay them fairly, especially in today's time. You know, gas is ridiculous.
Groceries,
ridiculous.
like
cost of living. Groceries.
It's
I just got groceries, and it's, you know, Paxton doesn't even eat a lot right now.
Oh,
so
wait.
the fact that it was just
invest in chicken nuggets. I wish we had stock in Tyson. Man, it's like
they're obsessed.
Yes, it's like they have stock in Tyson.
Every single day I offer something else. And
you can offer something that they like, that you know they like, and they still I want chicken nuggets.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes like he'll, you know, and I won't even, like, if I do make it for him, I have to hide it if I want him to try something else, because if he sees that they even exist, and he's, how old is he? 15 months? 16 months? I don't even know how old he is.
He was born in July.
This is what happens with your second kid. You don't count anymore. He's a
15.
year-ish. 15.
He's over you. 15. Okay. We're in October, right?
Yeah, October.
What is it?
It'll be...
Oh, tomorrow.
Is 16?
No, it's 15.
Oh.
Right? So,
July, August, September. No.
So, 13, 14, 15.
I think it's 16.
All right, whatever. He's over a year.
Parents of the year.
Listen, I stopped counting. How old is your son? Oh, he's over a year.
Yeah,
that's
same.
He's a year.
Wow. Or almost 2. When it gets to out over the halfway mark.
In December.
But anyway, I'll make him something. And if I have chicken nuggets as the backup, I have to hide them.
Right.
Because if he sees them, he won't even give whatever I'm trying to give him a chance.
Well, the problem is he sees his brother eating chicken nuggets.
No, I know.
Anyway.
It's a struggle.
Kids are fun. Kids are fun.
Well, and then they, like, JR ate everything up until 2. He would eat whatever we ate. Yep. He would give it a try. He would love it. 2, we have like I think 10 things
barely
that like we have to kind of like force to like sneak in.
And it's funny because he'll be like, "Ooh, that's good. You want some?" No, I want chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
So he'll try it and say, be a "Oh, that's good."
Breakdown if you don't give it to him.
That's not what I really want.
Right. Yeah. And then Jackson, it was Nessie hers is Paxton, and it kind of threw me off with my own kid's name.
Me too. Like, wait,
but he switched at 1. He was eating everything, and we were super glad that we had one that was eating everything again. And then he started
change.
But his changed too early. I wanted to make it until 2.
Yeah,
before.
Well, maybe he'll change back before JR.
We'll see. I keep waiting, but he's like 5 now. So it's been 3 years of this shit.
It's all right. He'll come back around.
Sweets, though, he'll try anything that has sugar.
Yeah, that's the me in him. That's the me in him.
So where are we going with that before the tangent of food? Oh, groceries and cost
everything
of living.
going up. Retaining your employees.
So, things are just expensive. You gotta pay your employees fairly. You gotta treat them right.
Right.
So I try really hard to be competitive with the salaries that's around us.
Right.
And then with that, I also pay 100% of their benefits.
Awesome.
So if they want health insurance, I will pay 100% of their health insurance.
That's amazing.
Are you hired?
Do you need any online video editing?
Because that's one thing I learned in the HR world was, for the employees who are making, more than me, a lot of, like 6 figures, 8, all that, they didn't care about their insurance.
Right.
But for the people who are making lower insurance, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if I can help anybody by just paying their insurance,
that's
I'm
amazing.
Do that.
Yeah.
And then I hope that I'm retaining the right workforce where they see that's a good benefit.
Right.
And they're like, man, I want to stay.
Right.
Because the next guy, they may be paying me more.
Right.
But, then I'll have to pay for my benefits. I might not get vacation time.
Right.
I won't get paid holidays off.
Right. I remember when I was still in oil and gas, we had gotten bought out, and I was a little worried about, whether I was going to be retained with the new company or not. And another company had reached out to me, knowing that we had just been bought out of like, hey, we're hiring. And, I interviewed, it was like, well, why not? Let's go into it, just see what they got. And it was a cool company. And they were actually going to pay me more, but they weren't going to cover my tuition. So they said it wasn't a program they had, and they said that they would. But I knew that, like, if it's not a program you're currently running, I know that you can agree to tell me, but I know that, like, every semester I'm going to wonder, are they going to take this away from me? Because it's not like, it's not something they give to everybody or whatever. Yep. And then they didn't pay for, like, parking or something like that. Well, parking in downtown Denver, Colorado was like, hundreds of dollars a month, or they paid like $75 towards it or something like that. A percentage towards it. Yeah, and it was like, okay, after it was all said and done, they technically paid me more on paper, but the things they didn't cover on the back end made it so that I actually made less, and I didn't know what I was doing, and it was switching jobs. I'm like, it's not worth it for me to go down, but so those things make a huge difference. And it's one of the big reasons you haven't left, because
it's also one of the main reasons why I work where I work, because a buddy friends of mine were pushing me towards that, and I was like, I'm not, I just got here, give me a year, let me kind of set reacclimate. Reacclimate, and then we'll talk about possibly moving. They set me up with this interview, had every intention of saying no. I was like, I appreciate your time, this and that, but I'm good where I'm at. And then they just started throwing benefits at me. And I'm like, well, okay. So I had to go to my boss, and I made it very clear that I was not looking. I was like, listen, I did not look for this.
It just fell in my lap.
It just fell in my lap. And as you know, I couldn't say no. And I had every intention. I told this to my boss. I had every intention to say no. But then the benefits. I have a family now. I can't. I'd be dumb to turn this away. And luckily, he understood. We still talk. We talked the other day when I saw him out in the field. We still have that relationship. He just knew that company couldn't compete with this company.
He couldn't even say, I'll match that, because it wasn't.
He asked, he's like, is there anything we could do? And I told him, like, listen, it'd be unfair. I know, working at this company for 11 and a half years, I know what you offer. And I know what everyone gets. And there's no way it'd be unfair for me to ask this of you. Because I know you can't compete. And you can't pay me and the amount to, kind of recoup this, so I gotta go. So totally.
Another thing we do is, on top of, just trying to make sure our employees are getting taken care of, we try to make sure our local nonprofits and our local schools are getting taken care of.
That's awesome.
I'm not sure in your area, but a lot of schools in our area now are getting maker spaces in there.
I don't think in our, I honestly haven't looked into it, but I haven't heard about anyone.
So it's really cool. I wish when I was in school that I had the ability to
it'd be so cool.
The last school I toured, they had a plasma cutter, they had a CNC machine, they had a 3D printer and a laser machine. Like, wow.
Could you imagine having access to that as a small kid like that? Exactly. All I had pottery, photography, and I think wood shop is like the extent of.
We had wood shop. Which most girls did not sign up for wood shop because you felt weird.
And if you didn't feel weird, the boys would make you feel weird.
Exactly. So, I think having the maker spaces in the schools really, it's a cool opportunity for kids. It helps show them that, hey, if you don't want to go to college, you could become either really good at, working the CNC machine, working the plasma cutter, and there's probably a company that will hire you to do that. So we make it a habit to donate materials to all the schools. Awesome. Sometimes we have a lot of drop cuts. So all my drop cuts, they go to the schools. And the schools, we can't use it. Our customers can't use it most of the time.
So what's a drop cut?
A drop cut is sometimes something, it's just leftover material. So when you're cutting on the 4x8 sheet,
it's
usually leftover. And
like a sliver or,
it's like a sliver or something. Now, it's perfect for keychains or earrings, something small. But if you're a student who's learning how to use a laser,
it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So we work with the schools to donate materials to them. We've donated a laser to one of the schools.
Nice.
Which was really nice. I was talking with this teacher, and she was like, "Yeah, it's going to take me 1 to 2 years to, get approved for my laser." And I was like, "No,
here you go.
I'll have your laser."
He said, "Hold my beer."
So I ordered her a laser, and she had it, within 3 to 4 months. And
that's awesome.
They had it set up, and it's really cool because the students were doing a project, and the 3D printer kept breaking. So they moved their design from 3D printing to the laser cutting on the Glowforge. Able to complete their project.
Nice.
That's cool.
And then there are some local nonprofits we work with too. There's one that employs special need kids. So they show the kids how to either make T-shirts, tumblers out of vinyl, or laser engraving. So I make it a habit to go out there and donate materials for them. That way they can keep their business up and running and employing these kids.
Right.
So we try really hard to be involved in the community.
Yeah. So
it's a good feeling.
What do you have any like big goals, or like where do you just see yourself like growing gradually by adding to your selection, or what's in the future? Yeah,
so we see ourselves growing by adding to our selections. We've started to play with adding more sizes, like the 24 by 35 sizes,
right? Because that just takes more space.
Like exactly.
If you add one size and you have it in every single option, that just doubled the amount of space that you need to store it all.
And that just adds more space. And so I've tried to add, multiple sizes and the most popular colors. I've tried to, I really want to, we have a lot of vinyl crafters that are local. So I want to, keep the, arches and the rounds and stuff for them, because they're not using it for laser engraving.
Right.
But they want the round so they can put vinyl on it. And some of them are saving up for their laser. So if I can help them save up for their laser just by, giving them a round.
Yeah.
That's,
that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And then getting into more laser friendly products is on our list.
Nice.
Finding things outside of acrylic, which in our old space, that was always on our list, but we ran out of space.
Right.
So it just got put on the back burner.
Yeah, every time you add something, when you're a physical seller, every time you add something to your inventory, that just increases. Like every time I add something, I was shopping the other day for new keychain accessories, and I'm like sitting here, I'm like, wait, do I have somewhere to put this when I get it in?
Thank God you're thinking like that.
Yeah. I'm trying.
It's hard because I'm like, oh man, we got all this room
right
now. I can bring in all this stuff, but I need to be cautious with it because
you need to be strategic.
Even for you selling your blanks and your keychain things,
right?
If you bring in something and it sits on the shelf for 3 months,
that's prime real estate. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It's real estate.
Yeah. Because all I have is I have my office and the wall in my kids' playroom. So like if it doesn't fit in those two spots, again, they're small, but if you have several hundred of them, or like the keychain thingies where I have several thousand of them, like that's it quickly takes up space.
They're small but big at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one thing we're just trying to do. Chelsea's working with some manufacturers right now to replace our UV printed acrylic.
Yeah.
Because we had discontinued our UV prints.
Right.
We were doing it for a while, but then we ended up, it's just very time consuming.
And they're very finicky, or can be very finicky.
Exactly. It's a great product.
Right.
I think Smoky Hills does a great job with it, but it's very finicky. So if you don't do it just right, or if you're too low, the color is going to be off. So it was just things that we just couldn't devote our time to.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure that, we were always being consistent with our quality to our customers.
For sure. Yeah.
And with UV printing, we didn't think we could do that.
Yeah.
So Chelsea's been working over a year with the manufacturers.
Awesome.
To reproduce some of those. So we're hoping within the next couple of months, those will be launching.
Cool.
But it's just a very time-consuming product. Everything's time-consuming. From production to getting it to our door always takes about 6 months.
Right. Yeah. As soon as you think about something, you're like, okay, now I need to go through. And mine's not like a crazy product like that, but even ordering it, I have to order it, and then it takes a couple weeks for it to leave, and then it takes a couple weeks for it to ship, and then it usually takes me at least a week or two to add the listing, get it on the site, tell people I have it. Yeah. So, I know you have to run soon. So do you have, what's your advice for a new or struggling laser owner?
Yeah, so I think this advice is for maybe just any person that wants to start a small business or start their crafting business. When I got into it, I was so scared that people weren't going to like me, that people were going to make fun of me, that people were going to laugh at me. You just got to take the jump. You got to take the risk and, believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then it's going to be, you're not going to obviously succeed.
Yeah.
But you won't know until you try.
Right.
So just try. And even if you don't have to purchase a laser right away. Just go to
there's ways to go into it slowly.
Exactly. Go to your local maker labs, your libraries, try it out there. See if
get some blanks.
Get some blanks. See if it's working. And then, once you get the hang of it, then invest in a Glowforge.
Right.
For somebody that has, a laser already, settings are so important.
Yes.
If it's one thing I've learned is that, we have 2 lasers. We have a 60 watt and a 120 watt. My settings will always be different. For my 60 watt, it's really consistent. Always the same setting for acrylic. My 120 watt, no matter, it could be the same acrylic over and over, but I'm constantly having to check things because if the lens is even just a little bit dirty, it flames up, or it won't cut through.
Right.
If the laser, if it's just a little bit out of focus, it's not coming through.
Right.
So it's just always checking. The settings may always be the same for you, but little things like maintenance can impact your settings. And all that.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
That's cool.
And we can't forget to mention the discount. Code. So
coupon.
Discount
code.
We'll
go with discount.
So Chi is giving 15% to, that's the discount for everybody. And the code is the Riley Black Project, right? Okay. Yep. So all together, and it's good until the end of October, right?
Yep, till the 31st.
Cool. And then we won't tell you how much and what the code is, but there's an even bigger one for our subscribers.
For Patreon. So make sure to subscribe to Patreon.
Yeah. And that's also good until the end of the month.
So if you're trying to stock up for Christmas,
now's a good time.
Now's the time.
Yeah, that's the one to get.
I might.
That's a really good one.
I might have to use it myself, even though I just ordered some. And how do people find you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, HustonAcrylic.com. We have our Instagram page at Huston Acrylic, and then our Facebook page as well.
Cool.
If you can't reach out to us via Messenger, we're pretty responsive to our emails, and then our phone number is on our website as well, and we're pretty responsive to our phones.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, Courtney. It was fun.
Thanks, guys.
For chatting it up with us. And thank you guys for listening as always. And that's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Bye.
Mamie, we're all done.